Same money, completely different life. $650,000 in one Philly suburb buys you a 4-bedroom move-up house. In another, it buys you a smaller home, a bigger tax bill, and a bidding war you didn't see coming. I'm Jim Stevenson, a realtor here in the Philly suburbs, and this is how I separate the towns that fit your budget from the ones that only look like they do. Here's the picture I see all the time. It's 11 o'clock at night, you're on the couch scrolling Zillow, and you've saved 40 houses across Quakertown, Lansdale, Doylestown, Newtown, New Hope, maybe even Lower Merion. After a while, they all start blending together. Every listing says great location, every town claims good schools, every house looks close enough on a map, but the real question isn't what's the best place to live in the Philly suburbs. The real question is what's the best place for your actual budget? Because a $650,000 buyer in Doylestown isn't shopping the same market as a $950,000 buyer in Newtown. And a $1.5 million buyer in New Hope isn't buying the same lifestyle as a $1.5 million buyer in Lower Merion. Same general region, completely different trade-offs. So here's the part nobody tells you on Zillow. The price of the house is maybe 60% of the decision. The other 40% is taxes, schools, commute, and how many buyers you're going to have to outbid. And in this market, all four swing dramatically across a 25-mile drive. Same $700,000 home. In Quakertown, you're paying about 1.23% of value in property tax. In Doylestown, it drops to right around 1%. In New Hope, it's pushing 0.8%. That doesn't sound like much, but on a $700,000 home, that's a $3,000 a year swing in a tax bill alone. What that means is choosing the wrong town in the same county costs you a car payment every single month for the next 30 years. And this is the math I make every move-up buyer sit through before they fall in love with the listing. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. All right, let's go bracket by bracket. I'll show you the towns, the real closing prices, the actual tax bills, and the trade-offs I'm seeing on the ground right now. First bracket, under $400,000. If you want a detached single-family home in Bucks or Montgomery County for under $400,000 in 2026, you're looking at upper Bucks. That's it. That's the answer. The town I'd point you toward is Quakertown. The median sale price here has been about $401,000. So we're at the upper edge of your budget. But I just looked at the last 90 days of closings here. At $310,000, you can buy a 3-bedroom twin. At $335,000, a 3-bedroom colonial with a yard. At $387,000, a 4-bedroom split level, almost 2,000 square feet. Taxes here run roughly $3,500 to $4,500 a year, around $300 a month. School district is Quakertown Community, solid, not top tier. So you're probably thinking, okay, what's the catch? The catch is location. Quakertown is upper Bucks. There's no direct SEPTA regional rail station in town. Commute to Center City is over an hour by car. So if you commute daily into Philadelphia, this isn't your town. But if your life is centered around upper Bucks, the Lehigh Valley, Route 309, or remote work, the math suddenly works. You're trading commute time for square footage and a manageable tax bill. Here's the part that surprises people. Even at this price point, 39% of these sales went over asking last quarter. So you can't sleepwalk into an offer. There's competition. Second bracket, $400,000 to $550,000. This is the most competitive sweet spot in the entire region right now. And the town I'd send you to is Lansdale. The median sold price here has been about $455,000. I pulled 88 closings here in the last 90 days. 47% went over asking. Median days on market is 10. Lansdale is moving. Here's what you get. A 3 to 4 bedroom colonial or split level, usually 1,800 to 2,500 square feet in North Penn School District. North Penn is one of the top public school systems in Pennsylvania. That alone is half the reason Lansdale prices have held the way they have. The other half is the train. Lansdale has its own SEPTA station with direct trains running straight into Center City, about 50 minutes door to door. There aren't many towns in this price bracket that give you top tier schools and direct rail. That's why every relocation buyer with a $500,000 budget ends up looking here. People will literally pay more just to not have to drive the Schuylkill Expressway every day. Tax bills run about $5,500 to $6,500 a year, around $500 a month in property tax on a $470,000 home. The math holds up. Here's the trade-off. Lansdale lots are smaller, especially in the borough. If you want a big yard, you're driving 10 minutes out into the township. And the borough homes are older. A lot of times 1920s and 1930s housing stock. Beautiful, but you're going to spend money on systems. And if you go the townhome route in one of the newer communities, factor in HOA fees, which typically run around $200 a month. That covers your lawn care and your snow removal, but it's a real number that lands on your monthly payment. All right, so that's the value tier. North Penn schools and a train for under $550 is real, but it's competitive and inventory is tight. The next bracket is where most of my move-up buyers actually land, and it's the one where I see people make the most expensive mistakes. This is the $550,000 to $1 million zone, the bracket where buyers stop chasing affordability and start chasing fit. Schools, lot, commute, walkability, taxes, every variable is now in play, and most buyers are weighing 4 or 5 towns at once, trying to figure out which one actually works for their family. And if you're caught in between a few different towns and you're trying to figure out which one actually fits, book a call with me using the link in the description so I can help you get some clarity on the towns that makes sense for you and your budget. Or grab my free Philadelphia Suburbs relocation guide using the QR code on screen. Here's where most buyers in this bracket actually land: Doylestown. Central Bucks schools and a walkable historic borough with a SEPTA regional rail station right downtown. The median sold price here has been $728,000. I pulled 100 closings. That's the biggest data set of any town in this video. 53% went over asking. Median days on market, 7. So this is the most competitive town we're going to talk about today. But this is where I see what I call the Zillow mirage hit hardest. Buyers see Doylestown online, see the downtown, see the Mercer Museum and the County Theater, and assume they need $1 million to get in the door. Not even close. In the 550 to 750 window specifically, there were 31 sales here with a median price of $660. So what's a $660 actually buy you in Doylestown right now? A 4-bedroom colonial, 2,238 square feet, half-acre lot, tax bill about $6,000 a year, 5 days on market. But here's where buyers get it wrong. They fall in love with the borough. They want to walk to coffee on State Street. They want the historic feel. They want the energy. They want to be in the middle of it on a Friday night. So they pay $720,000 for a 1,400 square foot twin in the borough. Same school district, same tax bill. When 10 minutes north into the township, they could have had a 4-bedroom colonial on a third of an acre for $660,000. Let me give you a real example. 2 months ago, I'm on a Zoom call with a couple. They've been hunting for 3 months. They're ready to write an offer on a Doylestown Borough twin at $720,000. I pull up a comp from the prior week, a 4-bedroom colonial in Buckingham, same 5-minute drive to State Street, same Central Bucks school district, $698,000. Bigger lot, newer roof. He looks at the comp and back at the camera. She looks at her husband and says, "We were about to overpay because we wanted to walk to coffee." They had a dog and a baby on the way. The yard suddenly mattered. The reason I'm telling you this is because the borough versus township decision is the actual sweet spot dilemma in this market, and most buyers don't price it correctly. Walkability has a real dollar value. So does a yard. They're not the same number for every family. One honest note on Doylestown: if you're commuting into Center City every day, the train ride is long. We're talking 60 to 70 minutes each way. The line is there, but it's not a quick commute. So if your life depends on a fast daily train into the city, this isn't the right pick. Stretch the budget to $750,000 and $1 million, and the conversation pivots to Newtown. Lower Bucks, Council Rock schools, closer to I-95 in Princeton, which is why I see a lot of New York and New Jersey expats land here. Newtown is interesting because the price spread is enormous. I had 60 closings in this data set, ranging from $275,000 all the way up to $3 million. In your $750,000 to $1 million bracket specifically, 11 sales. The median came in at $910,000, median tax around $8,200 a year, which is about $680 a month. Here's what that buys you: a 4-bedroom colonial for $800,000 with a $7,000 tax bill, a 4-bedroom for $825,000 with a tax bill of $8,200, or a 5-bedroom 3,500 square foot home for $950. Those were all within the last 90 days. But here's the honest part: at $850 in Newtown, the house itself isn't always luxurious. You can still walk into older kitchens, original bathrooms, dated mechanicals, wood paneling somewhere it shouldn't be. Council Rock and the location are doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the price tag. You're paying for the school district and the I-95 access as much as you're paying for the actual house. Also worth knowing, a lot of the most popular Newtown communities, places like Newtown Grant, come with HOA fees that add roughly $200 a month to your carrying costs. Pool, tennis courts, clubhouse, year-round social calendar, real amenities, but it comes with a cost. The trade-off between Newtown and Doylestown comes down to this. Newtown gets you closer to the New York and New Jersey corridor, plus Council Rock schools, which competes with Central Bucks at the top of the state. Doylestown gets you with the historic borough energy. You pick which one matters more for your life. Now we cross into $1 million plus, and the conversation changes completely. At this price point, buyers are choosing between two different luxury cultures, and they're not the same product. Path 1, Lower Merion Township, the main line. Wynwood, Bryn Mawr, Ardmore, Gladwin, Villanova. This is old Philadelphia money. I pulled 127 closings across Lower Merion School District in the last 90 days. The median sale across the entire district has been $875,000. Now here's the number that should change how you think about this market. Above 1 million, 56 closings in the last 90 days. The median sold price here has been $1,443,000, and 52% of those were cash purchases. What that means is if you're financing a $1 million plus home on the main line, you're competing against buyers who are writing checks. That changes how you write an offer. That changes whether you waive contingencies. It changes everything. Where you land inside the main line matters too. Wynwood medians sit around $935 with tax bills around $12,000 a year. Bryn Mawr medians push closer to $960, but the tax bill jumps to $14,000. Cross over into Gladwin, and the median sold price has been $1,888,000, with the property tax bill pushing $24,000. And here's where it gets brutal. Once you push past $2 million in this market, the median tax bill jumps to about $35,000 a year. It's nearly $3,000 a month in property tax before you've made a mortgage payment. $3,000 a month, every month, just for the privilege of the address. Here's what you're paying for. Lower Merion School District, consistently ranked one of the best public school systems in the United States. Direct rail into Center City via the Paoli line and the main line address itself. Path 2, New Hope in Bucks County. Completely different feel. This is the Riverfront, New York City expat luxury market. Last 90 days, the median sale here came in at $966,000. I pulled 11 closings between 1 million and 2.5 million. The median sale in that range was $1,695,000. Here's a real example. 4-bedroom, 4,500 square foot home on 2 acres, New Hope Soulbury School District, $1,035,000. Tax bill was $9,600. Another one, 4-bedroom on 3 acres, $1,695,000. Sold in 1 day. Tax bill was $12,900. Here's what surprised me when I ran the numbers. A $1.7 million home in New Hope pays a smaller tax bill than a $1.4 million Bryn Mawr home. The main line carries a tax premium that Bucks County luxury just doesn't. So the same dollar buys you more house, more land, and a smaller tax bill in New Hope. What you give up is the Lower Merion school name and the direct train. But there's a Bucks County reality that comes with all that acreage. Most New Hope properties are on private wells and on-site septic systems. Lower Merion is mostly public water and public sewer. That sounds boring, but it isn't. A failing septic system out here can run you $30,000 to replace. So when you're touring a $1.7 million home on 3 acres, the inspection isn't a formality. It's a real number on the table. The choice between Lower Merion and New Hope is the classic luxury question in this region. The polished, close-in version of luxury versus the acreage and character version of luxury. Neither is wrong. They just attract completely different buyers. Now you've got the full map. 5 towns, every price point from under 400,000 up through 1 million plus, with real closing data from the last 90 days. But here's what most buyers don't realize next. Pick a number, let's say $500,000. The exact same budget, same down payment, same mortgage approval. In one Philly suburb, $500,000 just bought a 4-bedroom detached colonial on an acre. 45 minutes away, the same money barely got a 2-bedroom townhouse with a $625 a month tax and HOA bill before the mortgage even kicks in. Watch the video on screen next because I break down exactly what $500,000 buys you across 4 different counties and the fork in the road moment that decides which one is right for your family. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.